Hello guys, and welcome to another video with me, Razor. What I wanted to do today is something a little bit new with regards to the upcoming patch, and also I wanted to just give my thoughts on pre-release, and we know that it's going to be released at some point, I think next week. So I just want to go through some of the points that we've seen so far and what this means for us as Shadow Priests. I also wanted to give the opportunity for you guys to decide on what you think is going to be the most challenging class in the next patch, and also what you have trouble beating at the moment in 1v1 situations. And I was thinking that the most I get mentioned, or the most I get messaged about, and the comments and the feedbacks, or the in-game comments that I get, I'll put all those together and add them up, and then whatever the most popular class is, which other priests find difficult, I will make sure to put a tutorial video, a very detailed tutorial video on how to beat them in every situation, and so on. What this will hopefully do is it will get you past that kind of brick wall where sometimes it feels like you can never climb over against the class, but that's hopefully what we're going to try and overcome as an obstacle throughout these videos. Thank you very much guys for watching, hope you enjoy. Okay guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through some of the patch notes and have a bit of a closer look at what exactly it is that we will be expecting in the next patch. Now straight away, something that caught my eye was the fact that they were redesigning Shadow Word Death. The way they were doing this is by disabling the reset on the cooldown when you use it once, and then allowing it to hit almost twice as hard in one go. So what they did was they gave it an 180%, so an 80% damage buff to be able to use that in one go. But you know, this would have been great really for us, because you know, it's one global cooldown doing almost the same amount of damage, which greatly increases our finishing really. But that aside, they've scrapped that now. I think they decided it was a little bit maybe too powerful. So what they've done instead is they have gone ahead, and I think that this is a bit of a, you know, it's a usual kind of buff across the board in terms of the other classes as well. They've buffed different abilities in certain ways. They've not buffed every class. Some of them they have left out, which is a little bit surprising. But for Shadow Priest, they've done a, you know, a bit of a, well, actually, it's a combined buff of 60% increase in damage on our dots, including Shadow Word Death as well, which is a very hard. It's already a hard-hitting ability, but now it's going to hit even harder. It's going to be in line or equivalent to the other execute type abilities that trigger at 20% health. Right. So first of all, Shadow Word Death now deals 15% more damage, which means that when scaled, it will be causing, I mean, for me at the moment, Shadow Word Death usually hits for about, if a crit, it hits for about 60 to 70k. If it's not, it hits for maybe about 40k, I would say. But it's still a very good hit because it reduces the amount. And obviously, for me, I'm fully intellect and haste gemmed and enchanted, and it's a very good, you know, an increase to our finisher is a very good way of putting people down quickly, especially with the you know, the recent changes they've had on Death Knights and their ability to heal so much with their conversion, and obviously with rogues having an increase to their recuperate at the same time with warriors and their second wind. Right, next is Shadow Word Pain. Pain will deal now 25% more damage, just flat base 25% more damage. You'll get 25% more damage per tick, and 25% more damage from the initial amount that it will damage the target, which means when you first apply it, it will do 25 more damage, and then 25 again per tick. If you have haste above 25%, you will get an extra 2 ticks of Shadow Word Pain than usual 5% haste. So that's, again, you know, it's for our dots is very good. Okay guys, what I've just realized is I've having read through some of the patch notes that Vampiric Touch will now be also doing 20% more damage, so like 5% less than what you will gonna get from the Shadow Word Pain, but still an amazing increase in damage and a real solid bulk to our dots, which obviously is very vital for our damage. Next I wanted to talk about is Shadow Form. And now, you know, Shadow Form, it's going to scale slightly differently. It looks like on the PTR that it's going to work with the glyph of Inner Fire, and it's also going to work with our existing Inner Fire ability and buff, which will increase our armor. So basically we're going to get a lot more armor in the next patch. We will lose the amount of damage that we're going to be mitigating against everything, so all schools of magic, including physical, but we will be getting back a lot more armor, which means that we are going to be a lot more durable against other classes which will hit from the physical school. So you're looking at druids, their bleeds, rogues, and apart from shadow strikes or whatever it's called that rogues have, which is shadow damage. Monks as well, when they're using their physical abilities to hit you, warriors especially, and even death knights. However, though we're going to get more armor, and there is a reduction, 15% that we had from shadow form is now gone. You can actually get 10% back, and this is across everybody's list. You can get 10% damage reduction back for having 2 resilience trinket or, you know, PvP trinkets, as opposed to now having the new PvE trinkets like the haste and all of that. So I guess it's going to be like an extra 10% damage reduction on top of our resilience. Resilience has been increased, obviously, so you know, but that's just, in my opinion, that's just a scale, because everybody's going to be doing more damage, so you need more resilience to be able to survive. At the same time, what we're going to be seeing is a really good, and I mean a really good, effect to our shadowy apparitions. Shadowy apparitions were never really that clever of a, you know, of an effect or an animation. It's a good idea to that whenever Shadow Word Pain crits, you have this shadow form that walks towards the target, but it looked more mediocre than actually being, you know, what it was intended to be, which was really kind of creepy and scary, and, you know, a priest being vampiric and being kind of a shadow artist, it was difficult to see the really good kind of effect side of shadowy apparitions. However, from the PTR, what I have seen is a great and amazing you know, development in the effect that they've given us. Your shadowy apparitions will now appear as a ghost of, as what I would interpret as a ghost form of you, of your character, and it would float towards the target like a missile, picking up speed. So it will start off from where you are, from where you're positioned, and it will slowly but then pick up speed as it goes towards the target. And the way it does it is it floats around almost like Casper, the friendly ghost. You know, it's almost like it's not touching the ground, it's not walking towards the target, it's floating and it's picking up speed. It's almost like you get the sense of a real haunting effect when this happens. So it's a really good development. Really pleased about that. The next thing I wanted to talk about with our priest is the fact that we are going to be seeing a lot more changes with our different abilities in terms of our core DPS, because as you know, from Darkness Comes Light is being buffed, you now get a 20% proc rate as opposed to 15, which obviously is a very good buff, because we get an extra 5% for us to get those vital mind spikes, and they do hit very hard, and they are 50% more powerful when they hit. Also, Mindbender is receiving a 10% buff from just general damage, and it's also increasing the amount of mana it gives back. Now remember, Mindbender is actually a talent which you would spec into because you wanted a quicker Shadow Fiend. It isn't because you wanted a more effective Shadow Fiend, because it was actually less effective. It would deal less damage, Mindbender, even though it was a talent. It would deal less damage, and it would give you less mana, but it was on a third of a cooldown of the Shadow Fiend that we had, which was only 1 minute. Which would come useful in some situations. You know, it depends on who you're facing and what situation that is. But most of the time, people preferred Shadow Fiend purely because when they needed to burst, it created an amazing amount of DPS, and it would hit for crazy amounts. For me, sometimes 38 to 40k normal hit, and then if it crits something like 80k, which is just amazing. I think it is still the hardest hitting pet in the game. Aside from buffed hunter pets, for example, or buffed other, for example, Death Knights, when they have that transformation on their pet, it really hits hard as well. But I think our pet still hits harder in the time that it actually, comes out and helps you. So that's all I wanted to say for this video, guys. I just wanted to go through some of the points that we're going to be seeing. I really feel good about what's going on in the next patch. It's going to be a buff in our damage. It's going to be a slight difference in the way we mitigate damage, and it's going to definitely have a good advantage for us against melee classes. Now, finally, before I go, I wanted to say this video is also been made to put out there the idea that I want you guys to feed me back what class you are having most difficulty dueling. Or being in one-on-one vs, in arena. For example, if you've hit that wall in arena when you just couldn't beat that class, and both your opponents were dead and both your teammates were dead, and you just had to go up against this one person and he took you out. I want to know what difficulties you had. What was the problem? Please tell me what class, and feedback to me what class you are having difficulties with, and I'll make a detailed tutorial about that one specific class, because I think I have my own opinions on them, which I'll share later. But for the moment, there are some classes that just absolutely overheal everything. There are some classes that just out damage everything. There are some classes that just have too much utility, and yeah, it's an unbalanced game, but there is a way around it. That's what I like to say and what I like to believe. There is always a way around it. So if you have difficulty against these classes, please feed that back to me. Either message me in game, as you guys do already, or give me feedback on the video here. And also, you can message me on YouTube if you like. Whatever way, just let me know. And then whenever I get a new candidate for the list, I'll count all of the different replies I get and see which one is the most popular, and then that's when I'm going to put together a very good video with an experienced player and teach you how to beat them. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Please comment, please give me your feedback, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time.